Very good evening and welcome to Primetime News on TV1. My name is Charlene Benedict and with me is my co-host, Sarla Fonseca. Good evening, Sarla.
Good evening, Charlene. But before we head into our stories, first we'll take a look at headlines.
Sri Lanka records highest number of medals won at Commonwealth Games. Sri Lanka prepares to celebrate Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Reginald Cooray sworn in again as governor of the Northern Province. SLFP members express opposing views following a group announcing its decision to leave the government. Pakistani court bans ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif from Parliament for life.
Sri Lankans are eagerly preparing for the dawn of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, which will take place in a few hours.
The Sinhala and Tamil New Year dawns at 8:13 a.m. on the 14th of April. The Punya Kale will be from 1:49 a.m. to 2:37 p.m. The auspicious time for lighting the hearth and cooking meals has been set at 10:40 a.m. The Nakatsi tour dictates that milk rice with jaggery should be prepared while clad in blue-coloured clothing and facing the north. The auspicious time for transactions and partaking of the first meal falls at 11:43 a.m. on the same day, facing north while clad in blue and white attire.
The true meaning of the new year would be to carry forward the very concepts of the new year to the modern generations. The children would learn about this even if you can cook milk rice in a gas cooker. If the children were awarded the opportunity to be fed a sweet by their father during the dawn of the new year, that would bring about true unity and love towards the parents. I believe it is paramount during this new year to protect tradition.
Now this time around, the general public will be awarded an opportunity to wish the President for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year.
A statement from the President's media division reads, the President is prepared to perform the New Year ritual and traditions at his official residence located down Mahakamasekara Mawatha in Colombo tomorrow. The statements at the public too can join in to extend their wishes to the President. 683 acres of land in Walikamam, North Jaffna, held by security forces, were handed over to their original owners today. These lands were under the high security zone in Jaffna since 1990.
Today, Commander of the Sri Lanka Army, Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayke, officially handed over these lands to Jaffna District Secretary Nagalingam Vedanayagam at an event held in Mailiti, Jaffna. It was decided to hand over these lands to the original owners after an investigation on lands that can be released to the people without causing any threat to national security took place. These lands are located in Mailiti North, Tayiti East and Mailiti, which come under the Walikamam North Divisional Secretariat. Over 300 families were identified as the original owners of these lands, and among them are those who were living in 12 displacement camps located in the Jaffna district.
These people have been living in camps with great difficulties for almost 28 years. It was not your fault and it was not ours. More than 80% of the lands held and used by the Sri Lanka Army have been released since 2009. Today we are happy to give back to you 683 acres of land.
The Ponnaile Road, which ran across Mailiti to Point Pedro, which is reopened today after being closed down for many years. Starting tomorrow, the general public will be able to use this road from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Since 2015, over 21,000 acres of land in the Jaffna district alone have been released to the original owners. Since then, 24,000 acres in the Kilinochchi district and 7,000 acres in the Mullaitivu district have been released.
Yesterday, Reginald Cooray was sworn in as the governor for the Central Province. However, this morning, he was once again sworn in as the governor of the North in the presence of President Maithripala Sirisena.
Secretary to the President Austin Fernandez said PB Disanayake was appointed as the governor for the Central Province following the position left vacant by Reginald Cooray. Disanayake will also serve as the acting governor for the Uva Province.
The President requested all the governors to select their preferred areas and do a self-transfer. Accordingly, the governors held cordial discussions and made several decisions. I was sworn in as the governor of the Central Province, and this morning I was once again sworn in as the governor of the Northern Province. So people might wonder why this sudden change was made. The main reason was the request made by the people in North. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party was always maintaining a neutral stance, but the party is now struggling to determine what the middle path is. I will not be narrow-minded about the no-confidence motion. There is no confidence in this entire system. After a government is formed in an election, everything else is determined by the 225 numbers. This will never be rectified if we keep quiet. A mistake should be viewed as a mistake. I have to tell what I feel. Not a disappointment. It's a disappointment and foolishness in a parallel equation. We need a national government, but that has to operate in the true meaning of national government. A national government was not formed when it was needed. A national government was needed to fight the terrorists, but the people did not join to form one when required.
State Minister Palisena, speaking to the media in Galle, commented on the Sri Lankan Freedom Party.
If you take a look at the result of the motion of no confidence, it has not affected those in government or those who presented it. It has affected us who are in the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party has split into two groups. It's our fault. It was among us and we should have known better to steer the party into the correct path. We as a group requested the President to meet the Prime Minister and ask him to ensure that there is no issue for those who leave or enter and allow them to function in government. There was an agreement to that. The President and the Prime Minister agreed. It was done, and now the topic of motion of no confidence is over.
In more developments from the political arena, former Minister S.B. Disanayake said the Sri Lanka Freedom Party Central Committee would reach a decision on withdrawing from the national government. The former minister made these statements while addressing his supporters at his residence.
S.B. Disanayake was welcomed by his supporters at his residence in Hewahatta after he resigned from his ministerial portfolio. We will make arrangements for our Central Committee to meet and accept our proposal to leave the government. We are planning to sit with the opposition during the next parliamentary session. We are hoping to obtain a mandate of the people to establish a broad alliance. Yes, UMP won the no-confidence motion by 122 votes, so we have to give them a chance to govern. They are like our blood relatives. They are from our party. We were in discussions with them for the motion of no confidence. That will be a decision made by the broad alliance. We will not have a problem with it.
Contradicting the statement made by former Minister S.B. Disanayake, General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance, Minister Mahinda Amaraweera expressed the following views.
We knew that we will not be able to win the no-confidence motion. We were also part of the no-confidence motion. The ones who led the no-confidence motion came up to us and said they will not be able to win it. They said the same thing on the last day. So what's the point in attending it? We neither opposed or voted in favor. Some left, although we stayed. Our own friends make different statements. Sometimes I wonder if I associated humans. They must be making statements because they are sad. They are just a few politicians. Some are angry and are attacking other parties. A lot of them went to the United National Party and came back. Tomorrow or the day after, they will end up in a different party. We are not reprimanding our friends. We are just saddened by what we hear. So I am willing to provide an explanation in this regard in the future. I am aware of the real situation. I'd like to say that I will do the needful to tell you the real situation.
Speaker Karu Jayasuriya says Thilanga Sumatipala is yet to officially inform him that he has vacated the post of Deputy Speaker. The Speaker added, after the President directs the letter of resignation to him, a new Deputy Speaker can be appointed at the next parliamentary sitting. The Speaker said the President and Prime Minister should deliberate and appoint a suitable person for the post.
Issuing an extraordinary gazette last night, President Maithripala Sirisena prorogued Parliament with effect from midnight yesterday. The next parliamentary session would commence on the 8th of May.
According to the Constitution, the President has the right to prorogue Parliament and also summon Parliament. No one can obstruct it now. Some parliamentary proceedings and proposals need to recommence with a fresh start. Based on the standing orders, I do not think the acts will be against tradition. That is an issue, and we will have to see in the coming days if this decision was taken because of that issue.
As Parliament was suddenly prorogued, all the matters included in the parliamentary agenda and the bills that have been debated but not passed will be termed void. The Committee on Public Enterprises, Committee on Public Accounts and other committees and bodies will also be termed void. When Parliament convenes again, new members will have to be appointed to those bodies and those bills will have to be reintroduced. The National Audit Bill will be made invalid. It was presented to Parliament after a 3-year delay and was to be debated on the 19th. In the past, the people questioned if the rogues have been nabbed. The government said action will be taken. That is how the special trial at bar was to be appointed. The respective bill with amendments has reached Parliament. It could have been taken up and debated. Now this too will be delayed. The JVP was to put forward proposals for the 20th Amendment to the Constitution to abolish the executive presidency as a personal motion. That too will be delayed.
Speaker Karujasuriya says discussions are underway to present the Judicature Amendment Bill with amendments determined by the Supreme Court to Parliament. Leader of the House, Lakshman Arjuna said the discussions are based on whether to produce the bill with the amendments or to produce a fresh bill. Speaker Karujasuriya noted a date to debate the audit bill would be determined on the very first week Parliament convenes again.
Asanka Laduahete brings us the illustrated news of the day.
More local news. Yesterday, both Arjun Aloysius and Palisena were further remanded over the controversial treasury bond issue, and Arjun Mahendran, the former governor of the central bank, remains missing.
CID files case at Fort Magistrates Court on its investigations conducted following a complaint made by CBSL Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy over the bond issue. Former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran, owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited Arjun Aloysius, CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Limited Palisena and Perpetual Treasuries Limited were listed as suspects by the CID. Owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited Arjun Aloysius and its CEO Palisena arrested by the Criminal Investigations Department. Arjun Aloysius, Palisena and Perpetual Treasuries Limited are charged with aiding in the criminal breach of trust committed by Arjuna Mahendran at the controversial bond auction on the 27th of February 2015. Attorney General's Department informs court the first suspect in the case, Lakshman Arjuna Mahendran, is not at the address listed in Singapore. Several attempts made to contact Arjuna Mahendran. Former Central Bank Governor Lakshman Arjuna Mahendran, suspect number 1 in the case, is in default of appearing before the director of the CID in accordance with the order issued by the magistrate despite attempts made to inform him to appear. Presidential Commission report states country incurred an avoidable loss of 688 million rupees at the controversial bond auction. Auditor General states long-term loss will be insurmountable. CID has made a request from Interpol to issue a red notice for the arrest of former Central Bank Governor. 2 suspects in the case are already in remand custody. Suspect number 1, Arjuna Mahendran, remains missing.
Colombo received a heavy rainfall this evening as well. Here's a look at the weather forecast for the next few hours.
Within the next 8 hours, showers and thunder showers can be expected in western, Sabaragamuwa, central, southern, Uva, north central and northwestern provinces. The Department of Meteorology said winds of about 70 to 80 kilometers per hour can be expected in the island. The department predicts showers or thunder showers to occur at several places in the sea areas off the coast extending from Galle to Trincomalee via Hambantota and Batiklo, and the fishing community is requested to remain vigilant. The Met Department said heavy falls of about 100 millimeters was experienced at several parts of the Badula district. The Disaster Management Centre said locals in Badula should remain vigilant. In addition, the general public is requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activities. The Department of Meteorology advises the general public to avoid open areas, avoid using wired telephones and connected electric appliances during thunderstorms, avoid using open vehicles such as bicycles, tractors and boats, and be aware of potential falling trees and power lines.
The Colombo Crimes Division once again today recorded statements over the incident where a group behaved in an unruly manner opposite the head office of the MTV-MBC network recently.
A group who arrived opposite the MTV-MBC head office moments after the no-confidence motion against the Prime Minister was defeated acted in an unruly manner. The chief suspect, believed to have organized the group, United National Party Urban Councillor Kitsira Rajapaksa, was summoned to the Colombo Crimes Division today. Police media spokesperson Espiru Angunasekar said a statement was recorded from him for over 2 hours.
This morning, locals from Dorelia at the village in Teldenia demonstrated following a man being mauled to death by an elephant.
The man who died in the wild elephant attack early this morning has been identified as 42-year-old Samarkon Mudianse Lage Jaisingha Bandara, a resident from the Dorali at the village. The Udugampaha coroner Norman Costa arrived at the location to conduct the post-mortem examination. Thereafter, the body was to be moved from the location. However, the locals engaged in a demonstration preventing that move. These locals allege the issue has been existing for a very long period and those in responsible positions have failed to solve the issue. The demonstrators then resorted to obstruct the Kandi Mahiangania road from the Moragahamulla junction. Our correspondent reported that the demonstration lasted for over an hour and a half. Several public representatives visited the location and attempted to defuse the situation. However, their attempts were futile. Eventually, the Maladumbura Divisional Secretary arrived at the location and promised to solve the issue following discussions with the Department of Wildlife. Thereafter, the demonstrators dispersed.
The Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy says a Korean firm has come forward to construct a liquefied natural gas or LNG terminal for power generation. Secretary to the Ministry Dr. Suren Batagoda said other firms which are able to carry out the project at a cost lesser than what was proposed by the Korean firm have been given several weeks to submit their proposals.
At present, the government has focused its attention towards using alternative means of power generation which have a less impact on the environment and are less costly to meet the country's future energy demand, and one such alternative method is the use of liquefied natural gas. The three 650 megawatt power plants constructed in Kalanithissa and Keravalapitia have to be converted into LNG power plants in the future. These combined cycle power plants, which generate electricity using diesel or crude oil, have been constructed in a manner when converted into LNG plants, they will be able to generate electricity immediately. In addition, it has been proposed to construct a 300 megawatt LNG plant in Keravalapitia in the coming years.
Since we do not possess any LNG plants, we have to incur a cost of $175 million annually. When power plants are made for diesel and crude oil, the cost is higher than LNG plants. Therefore, the government has decided to expedite the purchase of gas for the country. A Korean firm has come forward to construct a floating terminal away from the harbour. Gas will be provided using pipes. The government has decided to use that proposal and call for international tenders under the Swiss challenge method. When the Korean firm puts forward their proposal, we will present it to all the other firms to challenge it. For example, if Korea says it will provide 1 ton for $8, we will ask the other firms if they can provide for less than that. If the other firm says they can provide for $7, we will ask the Korean firm if they can provide for less than $7. If that firm can, it will be awarded to them. This system was chosen because we need to expedite the process. If a bidder comes forward, that bidder must guarantee us gas can be supplied by 2020. The Swiss challenge system will be introduced by the end of the month and Cabinet has approved it.
Well, this is a wrap of primetime news for the day.
Stay tuned on the BizFirst Review 360. We will be discussing the business confidence amid political uncertainty with the former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. W.A. Gunwardena. Good night.